on dudes. Whatever leverage you have, that's the shoulder that you tackle with.
Got two former defensive backs right here, and we smothering the wide receiver. We got him in the vice grip right here.
Sean, you feel some type of way? I thought you got cited.
I just made him better. I was made him better.
Commanders family, we talked all offense last week, so now it's time to get into the defense. We're talking new guys and returning guys, and we're talking this coaching staff. I'm talking John Allen, I'm talking Deron Payne, and I'm talking that man in the middle, Bobby Wagner. Then Coach and Logan Paulson get into the film room to break down Quan Martin. And we got the new rookie defensive back, Mike Sanders, still. He sits down one-on-one with me to raise hell with the rookies. And Commanders family.
You thought you had it. Almost had it. Almost had it.
Defense, baby. Welcome into Command Center, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. What's good, Commanders family? Brian Cooper Jr. here with Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, and we got the boy Shaw Springs back in the building. Logan on vacation, so we got Fred's second best friend here.
All right, we got to take it up a notch. Somebody got to monitor Fred Smoot, man. So they bring me to keep an eye on this guy, man.
He definitely is. He's been a little more calmer with you here.
I'm just happy he wore a white shirt. That's it.
Fellas, we are just coming off of Father's Day, and we are all fathers, man. How was your Father's Day?
Yeah, it was good, man. Nothing too extravagant. You know what I mean? Simple dinner with the kids, man. You know. Well, me, myself, man, I got to stand up for fathers all over the world right now. Because we don't get what the mothers get on Mother's Day. They take them to a steakhouse, they bring us an uncooked steak. Right? They buy them clothes, they bring us socks. All right? So at the end of the day, fathers, you are appreciated.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And they really appreciate it when you have to take the tab, right? They take it out of the dinner, but you're the one paying for all the dinner, so.
Look, I know my place, so I don't worry about all that.
We understand what it is as fathers. We on the grill, we ain't getting grilled.
Yeah, we ain't getting grilled.
Well, fellas, man, last week y'all on that field. We're going to get y'all on that field again today. However, last week was mini camp. Y'all got to see the players out there, man. What'd you see out there?
Yeah, just seeing those guys fly around, I think, it's electrifying just watching, just seeing how much energy that this staff is bringing to them, how they're coaching up the guys. That's something that stands out to me. Well, first of all, competition at every position. Yep. The wide receiver room, deep. Running back room, deep. Tight end room, deep. Everything I look around, deep. And that's what I like to see. Because, hey, I'm going to tell you this. Good teams cut good players. Yeah. Like, that's what's going to have to happen. So I'm seeing a lot of competition out there. Like they said, we don't know who the starters is right now. I love that sentiment.
And what you're seeing is the level of detail. Yeah. You know, in every drill, not only are in the individual techniques, but you're starting to see it like when 7-on-7 and correction. Everything translates to like, these are things that we're gonna do in the individual, to 7-on-7, to team that'll translate over in the game. And these guys are very detailed on special teams, offense, and defense, so I'm excited to see it.
And Sean, since we have you back, you know last week was all offense. We want to talk about defense now since we got y'all two legends here. And our amazing features team has been out at minicamp getting all kind of great content. Let's take a look at a little defensive hype piece they threw together.
It's time for your can't miss moments, brought to you by FanDuel.
All right, let's get it. Just the energy, the excitement of what we're doing, the way they're buying in, the way they're competing, it's fun, man. Everybody out there is just really going after each other, and that's what it's supposed to be. That's the only way we're gonna get better. Everybody's in. Everybody's all in. These guys every day are just trying to get better and trying to do it the right way. And as long as we do that, we're gonna have a hell of a chance.
Fellas, great to see that hype piece made by our amazing feature team. So you know what? Let's get right into defense. Defensive end position. Sean, we've added a lot of bodies to that room.
We did.
How you feeling about it?
Well, clearly there's a look. When you look at Cleveland Farrell, how big and long athletic is, Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler, who's been doing it for years in the league, they have an identity of the type of guy and build that they're going on. These guys look pretty, athletic, and they're going to get to the ball. So it's going to be a nice compliment to the D tackles that we have.
I got to bring one guy and add him to that. Add Jamin Davis to that edge group. All right. Now you want to talk about speed, length, and ability. I'm looking for him to have a big old year.
And just knowing how this defense has been ran throughout the years of, I guess you can say those Seattle years, those years in Atlanta, and then we just saw recently over there with the Cowboys, they know how to bring the guys in at the right time. So when you have that depth on your side, you never know when you're going to see these guys or what their roles are going to be until they put them out there on the field. But we have that to our arsenal.
Yep.
You know?
It's some guys that beat one-on-ones because with those two big boys in the inside, they will be getting all of the attention. So the guys on the edge will have a chance to take some one-on-ones and beat them.
And you talk about depth. Let's talk about these guys on the inside. We know about Deron Payne. We know about Jay Allen. We added Newton. Tanner, man, what do you think you're going to see from that interior defensive line room?
I mean, you got to think about it, man. They still have Ridgeway. They got,
Fadarian Mathis.
They have so much, that we haven't really probably, highlighted as much. But we're going to talk about Payne and we're going to talk about Allen because those guys are they are the two studs that everybody knows about. But, man, I just want to see these guys play in this defense. Like I said before, they've shown it year in and year out that they can be those guys, man. Now we're going to see how they really can play when we kind of, I guess you can say, give them a chance to really be special.
And I also think we're going to play more of an odd front. I know we've been playing a 4-3 for the last couple of years. I think we'll play more of an odd front. So there's 3 interior defensive linemen, 2 edge guys. So it's a chance we can see Newton, Payne, and John Allen on the field at the same time. And we just talked about Ridgeway and Fadarian, man. Like, it's just dudes on dudes on dudes in the inside. That could be the deepest room on this roster.
You talked about earlier competition. It's gonna be hard. That's the one room you don't want to be judged. Like, I might have to let a really good football player go. But then you talk about the strength of the team. That is where it lies, right there down the middle of the field, and led by Deron Payne, who played excellent even after he got the big contract.
And Fred, we're going to be talking secondaries later, but I don't want to go over the linebacker room. Man, we talk all the time about Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner. Just seeing them gets us excited, man. How excited are you to see them hit that field?
First of all, what did you say when you see Frankie Louvu on that field?
Who is that?
That's what I'm talking about. He jumps off the screen. Now you got, first of all, we're going to start with Bobby Wagner. We're going to start with Mr. Yellow Jacket. He's the guy that not only going to share his education, but share his skill set with the other guys and set the tone for that room. But Frankie Louvu is a monster that needs to be let off the leash. Let him go. He's the type guy that can, and you got to realize Jamin Davis still part of that group. So they want guys that do dual things, because when you look at a Frankie Louvu and you look at Wagner, they can all tackle, they can cover, they can blitz. So they can do a little bit of everything.
And let's not forget that stud from Temple.
Yo, man, McGee.
I'm talking about McGee.
Put together.
And that's one of the things about it. I mean, when you have the guys that we have in front of those young guys that's coming in, man, just think about how much they're going to be able to soak up. And like I said, we already know this defense is going to be playing different, I guess you can say sets of guys. So just imagine, like, at the perfect time, you bring in a guy who's been sitting behind a Louvu or a Wagner that's done. He's ready to chop at the bits for his opportunity, and he can play football. Man, I can't wait.
And you talk about, we've complained around here for years since London has left that we need somebody in the middle to make a difference. That guy, that answer is Bobby Wagner. There is no guy I can think of in the last decade that's more of a leader, inspirational linebacker down the middle than that guy. Enough said about the linebackers. Just adding him is a huge part.
And Fred, man, how are you loving not being outnumbered? You got 2 defensive guys now. Normally it's offense, right? How much you miss Logan, man?
It feels so good. It feels so good. Because, offense, everybody love offense. You walk in the stadium, it's number Mouse jerseys. It's always offense. Defense wins championships, and that's why I feel good about this defensive backfield. I feel good because we got so many guys, we talk depth, that they don't know where to put Quinn. Quinn gonna play safety, he gonna play nickel, he gonna play outside. You still got Forbes looking to have that bounce back year. St. Jude's looking to have that year that sticks out among people. Then you gotta realize Jeremy Chin at safety, I was standing beside the guy the other day, I was like, he looks like a linebacker. So now you got all of these guys, and don't forget Defoe is coming back. Everybody seems to forget about Defoe.
I think he's the X factor.
He's one of those guys that been here for a while. He's one of those guys that I think is gonna really, really blow up playing in this wit defense.
Now, Fred, I know you loving this defensive talk, but you gotta miss Logan, right? You don't miss Logan a little bit?
I do not. No, I would rather be with Bluefoot.
Well, you know what? We know the Commanders fans.
Man. He just said
he miss you, right? You know what? And we know the Commanders fans miss Logan Paulson as well, and he is standing by with our head coach Dan Quinn to get into some film. What's up, fellas?
All right, Coach, some young pieces on the defense. You brought a lot of guys into free agency. But one guy that was here from the last regime was our guy, Quinn Martin. And a guy that I really enjoyed watching, especially the second half of the season. Plays safety, plays in the box, can do a lot of stuff. But I love kind of I love how he's wired. You know what I'm saying? And this is a great play, like little click and close here by our guy, and the physicality to arrive at the ball in a violent manner. Like, gotta love that.
Yeah, and this is the essence of playing DB. You know, the ability to turn and break, use your leverage for a shoulder tackling, and so that's such a big part of Quan's job is going to be as a safety. Man, you had better be a great tackler, Logan. There's so much space, and like you're the last line of defense, and you have to make sure, like we use the word erase tackler, like this has to go down.
Has to go down. Here's your last line of defense. And you talked about leverage tackling there. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
And so to play really good defense, you have to be a good tackling team.
Yeah.
And we're a leverage-based shoulder tackling team. So as the contact happens, we're owning a side of a player, right shoulder tackle, left shoulder tackle, and think of like baseball, like a strike zone from the shoulder to the knees. But whatever leverage you have, that's the shoulder that you would tackle with.
Yes.
If I was entering from the left side onto you, I'd be a left shoulder tackle.
And you're basically forcing me back to the defense, right?
Yeah. And the reason you want to do that, if I was coming from this side onto you and I was going to try to tackle you with my left shoulder and I miss,
you lose
there's
contain.
nothing else.
Right.
And so owning that leverage to make sure all these guys are working together, that's such an important part of safety. And for a guy who has that kind of speed and to arrive violently into the hit and do it safely and do it tough, he's just going to have such an impact here. He can play down in the box, he can play in the back. He's a really special player.
And so this to me looks like cover 3, right? 1, 2, 3, kind of easy. But they've got 3 receivers over here. And I've always wondered, I don't know safety, I'm not a defensive player, but I feel like he should maybe be shading up top here. Is that something he could look at pre-snap, or is that me just looking too closely at it?
And there's all sorts of rules and indicators that can happen. Who's the receivers outside?
Let's talk about that,
Where does a quarterback look to and some eyes?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you'll hear the word lean post.
Okay.
Meaning they'll lean to one side or lean to another. If you were playing against Terry McLaurin, you'd want to lean towards his side. And so you'll use some of those techniques by game plan. A true middle field player does have a read off of the quarterback. So as he begins to set up and you're into it, now there's some indicators that could happen.
Sure.
If you go back even prior, Logan, like what are some routes that could happen, with a receiver who's inside the numbers versus outside in breaking routes. And so all of those tips and tricks as a middle field safety can come into play. So he has an awareness, hey, they're loaded to the side. And if there's an in-breaker, I'm going to be ready to go make a play.
And I think, we talked about stems with Terry in a previous breakdown, but I see this outside stem. I'm not thinking he's running out, right? He's trying to create space for the dig. And so kind of like looking through those positions and saying, oh, this guy's kind of give me the answers to the test, basically.
Some of the terms you'll hear from a defensive coach when they condense formations is to expand us.
Right,
so
100%.
Condense to expand to make the defense widen to create space to throw. But at the end of it, a good safety has great tackling ability, great range out of the middle of the field, and you better have ball skills.
And again, I remember playing for you in Atlanta, and I remember one thing we always talked about was just juice and loving the game, and I see this guy play, and he gets me juiced, he's got a little energy to him, which is always exciting. And I put these plays together. Here he is playing the post safety again, and I felt like this was a little bit more awareness by him. And it's not like the last play was bad, but they're trying offensively. They're trying to get everything out here. They're looking this guy out here. They got the quarterback looking over here. They're trying to say, hey, go this way to the safety, right?
Yep.
Because they got our guy George Kittle on the backside here running this drift. And I love that Quan stays home, trusts his eyes, and to me it kind of shows as he played more over the course of the season, he got better.
Yeah, because as you just said, oftentimes when teams are playing zone, you're trying to flood one side to make people feel vulnerable, whether it's high to low, and so you can see run action going to that side. And so a true middle field player still has to be in the middle of the two widest players. So by not expanding onto this play, he's able to still make a play and come back. And again, you see the quickness of turning on the throw. And so once you see that happen, the quarterback sets up and it happens instantly.
Yeah.
And so that ability, when he sets up, you're ready to go.
And this guy does a really good job of kind of that shoulder turn quick. And I love that Quan, as you said, the click and close, the ability to get in there. And that's a special skill set for sure.
Yeah. Quarterbacks who are dynamic in our league are the ones that can get rid of it quickly. I can look here, but the arm speed to go and throw it at different spots, that's what makes it the tough of the tough. The guys who are long to wind up, any safety loves that.
Absolutely. And so we saw a lot of zone there. Here's him in man coverage. This is kind of an interesting formation, Coach. Got a lot of receivers over here, kind of stressing the defense that way. But I love a guy that can play in the zone, but also play man-to-man coverage. And again, I don't know a lot, but I see he's got this post safety here. I see how he undercuts this route here. he kind of says, hey, I need to work from outside in to undercut and force him to the post. It just seems like a very aware guy with good athleticism.
That's right. If you go back to the top of this one, Logan, sometimes you'll see an offense, put some formations out for some indicators. And so this is the running back down here to the bottom.
Sure.
Receiver, 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 tight end. So by a safety coming over, a linebacker coming over to cover a back, all the corners to one side, the advantage shifts now towards the offense. And so anytime we're tackling or in a coverage, there's a leverage to be played. And you start with that initial leverage as you watch Quinn here as an outside leverage player. And then as the route develops, knowing where your help is, now you can transition to undercut to be able to play. And so if Cooks had broken outside, he would have stayed that leverage. It would have been the same. But the fact that the route took him inside, because he has help over the top, he's able to transition. So you couldn't be more right to say what you want to see from a young player is this progress and taking place.
And it's great to see that. That's the last game of the year, right? So
not all players who are safeties can guard wideouts.
Yes, right. And it's nice to have, it gives you some flexibility. You're always talking about positionless basketball. That's one of the things that I see with him that is very exciting.
Traditionally, you'd see a safety guard, a tight end, and a running back. And so the fact that this player, can guard an excellent receiver at the line of scrimmage, that just changes the game for us, knowing that, we have a safety on a receiver and we're good with that. It allows now maybe a different player to blitz.
Yeah, there we go. We got the energy there too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's
right.
always juiced, man. Always juiced up. And so, love that ability. And then, again, like safeties, everyone thinks safeties are always far away from the ball. Here he's just kind of playing this buffalo nickel dime position. And you got to be physical when you're in the box. And I think, like you talked about being able to win physical matchups from a running movement standpoint, I also think he's got that kind of mentality to say, hey, man, I'm not going to be blocked. I'm going to get to this football.
When you're evaluating players and it goes into the offseason, whether it's free agency or the draft, there's a couple of core tenets this has to happen. One is tackling. It has to be able to play that. The second one is range. You're a back half player. Can I go to one side or another? The ball skills, and then the last one is box play. And so when you have to get down and get into the fight, are you able to throw hands on people, play aggressive? And that's the attitude, that's the style, that's the identity that when you and everybody else watch us play, they just say, man, I love how physical these guys are.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to see this guy in this defense and how you're able to maximize him. Really looking forward to it.
Right on.
Now, our second-year defensive back, Quinn Martin, was drafted in the second round of the 2023 NFL Draft, playing 16 games, amassing 46 tackles with 2 interceptions and 4 pass deflections. Gotta imagine the second-year guy is looking to build on a strong rookie season. It's time for the best seat in the house, presented by SeatGeek. Your ticket to great Commanders seats.
Thanks, BC. Yeah, we back out here now. We're watching the defensive backs. Two former defensive backs right here, and we smothering the wide receiver. We got him in the vice grip right here.
I still beat you.
Yeah, well, we watching these guys right here, and now they doing a DB drill where they go find the ball, and they working on teammate. Blue, do you see anything they working on out there?
Yeah, so once you get past the individual drills one-on-one, now you kind of, this is not 7-on-7, but this is like a group drill, and they're working on a cover 2. So you'll notice that the corners are trying to get the jam. The safeties are reading the quarterback 2-to-1 and getting off the ball. And you also got a poacher inside. And while they're getting the reads and getting the looks and seeing how they all work together, they also get to catch the ball and actually simulating what they might see in a full 7-on-7.
This drill remind me of that time when we stopped doing one-on-ones and we started doing, those two guys out there. The dual guys, so you guys can now communicate and know, say, hey, if this guy got a high-low, then I know I'm taking the high, you taking the low. So I love watching our guys being able to be in these sets. And this is something that we've been talking about from day one with this coaching staff. All we see these guys doing is coaching, showing these guys the fundamentals, showing these guys what can take place, throughout the white lines, and that's something that gives you that hope and gives you that
And to that point, you're breaking the game down. It's like it's individual, it's little games within inside the games. Then you get 7-on-7. Then you get the team. Then you get to all type of other drills around situation football. But you can see how they're meticulously breaking the game down.
The one thing I always enjoyed the dual one-on-one. Like one-on-one is one-on-one, all right? But I never played a game literally going one-on-one with somebody. The thing about it is I love the dual thing because now it teaches teamwork. It makes the dream work. Hey, back to you, BC.
I appreciate y'all, fellas. I got it from here. Now it's time to raise hell with the rookies. And there's not many rookies going into a better situation than you because you have a defensive coordinator in Joe Witt Jr. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but he has been a part of some of the better secondaries. He knows how to get the ball back on defense, man. How excited are you to play under him, and what has it been like learning under him these past few days?
It's been great. I know I'm going to get top-notch coaching.
Yeah.
I'm just super excited to be developed by these coaches. I know what their resumes are and what they come from, and like you just mentioned, how they get guys to take the ball away.
Yeah.
I was able to get a few takeaways this past season, and just being a guy that played defense for only 2 years right now, I'm excited to be coached by them and just go out there and compete every single day. It's great. The past 2 days have been great. It's been fun, energetic. It's been a lot of learning.
Yeah.
But I'm just ready to capitalize on my opportunity.
Such a pleasure talking to a hungry rookie like Mike Sanderstill. Our senior staff writer, Zach Selby, wrote 5 things to know about our guy, Mike Sanderstill, and that is on the Commanders website. Now we have some Washington legends who caught up with a former Washington teammate in Kedrick Golston, who's found a way to make it back onto the field.
Thanks, BC. We live at practice right here with our ex-teammate, Kedrick Golston. He's out here. He's most definitely doing the coaching situation thing here. We got Santana Mouse. We got Sean Spring out here. How you feel, brother, doing the coaching thing right now?
Man, it's great, man. Ton of great energy out here with DQ and the staff, man. The boys are getting after it, and it's just kind of the last little hurrah before the break to training camp.
First of all, congratulations on your new job, coaching the local high school at Stonebridge. Are you going to take anything that you're doing out here with the pros back to the high school?
Absolutely, man. It's all about the juice, man. It's all about loud music, creating an environment of just excitement so that the players can get out there, run around, just enjoy it. It's football. The reason we play it is because we love the game.
We've all been asked that question about coaching once, our career was over, playing the game. What was that process like for you? Did you go right into it after you retired, or was it something that over time you just say, hey, man, I still have a passion or love for I need to go out there and share it with the youth?
The grassroots, you know what I'm saying? I got 2 young boys out there on the field with them, and, you get into it. You think you just coaching youth football. The next thing you know, you're breaking down film, you're watching it, and you studying it, and you realize, man, I really enjoy the process of coaching, and almost are more nervous about coaching than you were playing. Just because when you were playing, you only worried about yourself. Now you're coaching, you worried about either your position group, one side of the ball, or the whole team. So it's just the process. You just fall in love with the grind and then the accomplishment of doing something every day.
Coach Witt talked about they don't have any starters right now. So what are you telling everybody on the D-line how to compete, how to approach practice? You are a professional. You approach it every day like to compete every day. How are you telling these young guys how to do it?
Who you are is what you put on tape. And there's no starters because they want to rotate bodies. They want fresh bodies. They want 11 guys flying to the ball, understanding that it's up to them to bring the best football players in here. So why are we going to keep good football players on the sideline if the guys out there are tired? So ultimately, you can pave your own way. That nothing's set in stone. Go out there and get it.
Here's the thing I want to know. As players, we kind of control our own destiny when we're on the field. But coaching is kind of, I got to put this inside of your head, and I got to trust you to do it. How do you feel paralyzed not being able to control your own destiny like you used to be as a player?
There's a lot of similarities between coaching and teaching, right? I think teachers give you information, coaches give you the answers to the test. So from a coach-player standpoint, there needs to be a trust level there that if I tell you something and you do it and it's wrong, then I need to take responsibility for that. But if I tell you to do something and you don't do it, you need to take responsibility for that as a player. So ultimately it's just building that trust and ultimately the players believing that the coaches are putting them in the best situation to be successful.
Now I know that you have this new gig at the high school level being the head coach, but you're out here and you're going through the process of having this opportunity to be on the professional level doing something that you played, the level that you played at. Do you feel like this is a segue that maybe, a year or two in that high school level, if I did all I can do, hey, I could come back out here and have a permanent job here?
Man, I'm just learning and trying to grow. We tried to grow as a player. I'm trying to grow as a coach and understanding that it's still 22 guys out there. The field's 100 yards by 53. So the better I can become at any level, you know what I mean, the more it's going to help me to no matter what my future looks like. So I'm just going to try to win today, trying to learn, trying to grow, try to take it back to the high school, try to take it back to the young people in the community so that we can all just benefit from what we all know. You know what I'm saying? If we don't give it to somebody, it's going to die with us. And so that's kind of, coaches was a huge part of my life growing up, just like I'm sure it was for you all. So I want to be able to give what was given to me so that somebody else can give it to somebody
It's so
else.
funny for all us to be here because the last time all us was on this field, we was actually on the same football team, and we was actually younger.
And the thing I like is we talked about earlier, Kendrick. You cut from the same cloth, like Greg Williams, man. What are some of the lessons you learned when we played together that you
There's two things you can control, no matter if you're a youth player or professional: your attitude and your effort. They take no ability. Right? Your attitude and your effort, and that's what I tell really any guys. Right? You can't control what situation you're in. Everybody wants to be the starter, but you got to be the best version of yourself where you're at right now in order to create more opportunities for yourself. But if you're flying around and you got a great attitude, people are going to continue to give you opportunities and try to pour into you.
You are sounding like a coach.
No, he's a coach. he's official. He is official.
Official coach, man. Congratulations on everything you're doing. Full speed ahead. I hope for the best with you. Back to you, BC.
Now let's look at Golston's career. He spent 10 seasons in the burgundy and gold, suiting up alongside Fred Smoot and Sean Springs, and like Tana said himself as well, he played 142 games in his career with 224 tackles, 21 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Great to see him back with us. So fellas, before I let you guys go, a few weeks ago, our running back, Austin Eckler, came in and said he was excited to play with Brian Robinson Jr. because he wants to be that dynamic duo backfield like he had with Melvin Gordon. So I figured it'd be kind of fun to ask you guys, y'all dynamic duos, all time in the NFL. Tanner, I'm
not gonna go all time. It's gonna cause me to think too much. But I'm gonna talk about the game today. Two of the guys that I watch a lot on Sundays when I'm not watching us. I would say Jamar Chase and Higgins. Those two receivers there, man. They're explosive. And they're great together.
And we're gonna see them this year. And we got them on the schedule.
That's a good one.
Who you
For
got?
me, during my era, it had to be Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. Those two were fantastic. Obviously, Peyton Manning was amazing, Hall of Fame quarterback. And Marvin Harrison was a feature guy, but I don't think Reggie Wayne, people gave him enough credit to where Reggie Wayne with it today would be a one.
They also had a tight end at the time too.
Yes, they did. And Fred, last one. What's your favorite duo?
My favorite duo I happen to be a part of. I hate to bring the news to you. It was my rookie year when I got here. Champ Bailey on the left side, Fred Smoot on the right side. Dynamic duo. Nobody caught nothing but problems. All right, that's what they caught.
Sean, you feel some type of way about you got cited.
I just made him better. I was making him better.
I wasn't gonna say me and him because he's right here. I wasn't gonna do that.
Well, Commanders fame, that is it for this week. We will see y'all next week. Don't go nowhere for Command Center.
Join me as I take a deep dive into the least insulted ticketing app in history, SeatGeek. Did SeatGeek invent the ticket?
No, but we do make them work.
Drum roll, please. Ooh, how do I use the Seat View feature?
It shows seats with a pole blocking the view. Don't buy those.
What if I want to sit behind a pole?
Buy those.
Join me as I bore you to death with a series of interviews about a ticketing app that just does what it's supposed to do.